Hello, everybody. Welcome to Fruitful Trees. I'm so excited. I travel all over to go and meet people in their yards and film their yards. But today, the guest lives right near my house, so close to my house. And we connected on Facebook, and he talked about some mango club. And I thought it was really cool the way it sounded. So I came here to meet him, and we're going to take a tour around his house today. And we're going to check it out. And I'm going to put his contact information, his Facebook link, and any other contact information below the video in the description. If you want to get in contact with him, check that out. We're going to go look at his yard now, so let's go. Hello, everybody. Here we are with Michael in my neighborhood, and he contacted me, or we contacted each other through Facebook, and he has an amazing yard we're going to look at today, but he's doing something real special. So, Michael, say hello to the audience.
Hello, Fruitful Trees viewers.
Okay, so tell us what your post on Facebook was about, a mango club or something like that?
Yeah, I am putting together a mango team. I'm looking for partners who have space for a mango tree near where I live, and we can partner on growing a mango tree together. I have excellent trees of excellent varieties, and they're ready to go in the ground, and I want to help take care of the mango tree, do the pruning, provide the fertilizer, that kind of thing, and then we share the harvest. I take fruit up north to sell in the summers, and I'm looking for more places to get fruit from. I used to get fruit from various trees in vacant lots, but I've lost all of those over the years to development and hurricanes and different things. So I'm trying to make more places that I can get fruits from. I planted everything I can here, but it's full, and I want to plant. There's so many fantastic mango varieties, and I want to grow more of them, but I can't fit them here. So I'm looking for people who want to partner with somebody who knows how to take care of a mango tree, and we can work on it together. Most of the trees I see around, nobody trims them ever, and they get too tall, or they're full of diseases and pests. So, I know how to take care of mango trees, and if you have a spot that we could fit one, and it's close enough that I can get back and forth pretty fast, then I'd like to partner with you to grow some mango trees.
Wonderful. I'm going to put your contact information on Facebook so people can get in touch with you. We are in the West Palm Beach area. If anyone's interested in this program or teaming up with Michael, just contact him at the Facebook page below. And I think this is wonderful. So how long have you been at this personal house here?
I've been here about 40 years.
40 years. And what are you, 80 years old now?
43.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
He's been here his whole life. This is his parents' house, right?
Yeah.
Yes. And if you join the club, you get a cool hat like that too, right?
Well, I can tell you where to get one.
Yes. Okay. Great. Great. So we're going to look around his place today. So how long ago, you're 40 years old now, 40, when did you start planting?
Probably when I was 7.
7?
Yeah, I think my avocado tree, I think that I planted that about that time.
Wow, so you were interested even way back then in planting.
Yeah.
Now, did your dad or your mom, were they into planting stuff or not really?
Not particularly.
So when you were 7, you just came to them and you said you want to plant an avocado?
I think it was one of those, like, you know how people show kids about the toothpicks with the avocado pit? And there were trees in the neighborhood, and I was very interested in the avocado trees in the neighborhood. I used to go around in all the neighbors' yards when we didn't have so many fences back when I was younger. And so I got to know all the trees around inside the block. And so I brought home a seed from one of these trees and planted it, and it turned out to be an excellent variety that I've been cloning and would like to plant more of those as well as the mangoes.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Well, what's the season of that avocado?
It's an early one. I picked them basically the first week of July. And
wow.
They're about this long. They have like kind of a long neck, and they turn a maroon color when they ripen. So it's very easy to tell when they're ready to eat.
Wow, I'd like to get a graft of that.
Yeah, they're so delicious too.
I can come taste it in July.
Yeah, I think they're as good as a Haas.
Wow, wow. All right. Do you know what the seedling was of, or you don't have no idea?
No idea. Yeah. It's a similar shape to a Wilson Pompano, but I don't think we had any of those around here. So
okay.
Who knows?
Well, in starting off this little tour, how big's your property here? Do you know?
It's about a quarter acre.
A quarter acre, which is actually the same size as my property. So that's pretty cool. So right here in front of his house, this is one of my favorite trees of all time. And it's not a fruit tree, believe it or not. It's a moringa tree. So did you plant this one?
I planted this moringa tree. I think it's less than 10 years old.
Wow.
I don't remember exactly when I planted this, but I've been cutting it back a lot because it's very close to the house, and the leaves that are way up high, you can't harvest them easily to eat anyway. And we don't, and they're very brittle, fragile trees. So a strong wind will break branches, and I don't want them falling on the roof. So I keep cutting it back. And but you can see that this trunk here is, this is pretty substantial here.
Yeah, this is the biggest trunk I've seen on a moringa tree. I know they grow bigger, but I never let mine get that big. But it's pretty amazing. Wow.
Yeah, they just grow so fast.
Well, I love this. Now, did you plant this from a seed or a cutting? Do you remember?
Seed. This was back when I used to have a nursery in Gainesville.
Oh, you did?
And yeah, and
Okay.
so this was one of my trees from the nursery.
So it's from a seed.
Yeah.
Now people know you can't do this from cuttings as well.
Yes.
Okay. Any advantage or disadvantage to seed or a cutting in your opinion, or they're just both great?
I haven't grown them from cuttings before, so I don't really know how well they form, if they form a very good root structure. I know with the seeds, almost immediately they start forming a swelling, and I know that swelling enables them to hibernate during periods of drought. The top can just completely die, and they just sit in that like an egg or a seed, and wait for the rains to come back, and then they sprout again.
Okay.
One this big, I don't know if it's got anything like that.
Do you soak the seeds beforehand, or you just put it right in the dirt right away?
Just put them in. We did have a little trouble getting them to grow in soil that held a lot of moisture. The seeds would decompose. So what we did was we'd put our regular soil mix, we'd put the seeds on top, and then we'd cover them with sifted pine bark.
Okay.
And,
wonderful. Now, you can make powder out of this. You know that, right?
Yeah.
It's delicious. That's what I do, and there's so much on there. That's great. All right, so we're in the front of his house, and I want to take you right over to the front of his house, because the front of his house here, he has this amazing Glen mango tree with some grafts on there. This is it's not too tall. It's nice and wide. Very nice tree here. How often do you trim this tree?
every year, basically.
Every year. Okay. And how much do you cut off it every year?
I think last year I probably cut off maybe 5 or 8 feet from the top. I think
Oh, wow.
I cut it a little more last year than I had the previous years.
Oh, wow. Okay. Okay. And you grafted some other things on here.
Yeah, I did a few grafts, and they haven't. I tried to put them inside so that they would have room to grow out and make a reasonable branch. Because at this point, if I graft on the edge here, this is almost in the driveway, so I can't really let it grow very much past this. So I put them on the inside. This was a. Need to redo these guys. I need to.
So he marked the grafts, which is very important when you graft.
Yeah, but you don't want to
But
let
now
them.
he can't read the graft.
Yeah, I think this was sea crust.
Sea crest. Okay.
And I recently snapped all the leaves off as an experiment to try to get them to grow. Unfortunately, I found out putting them on the inside of the tree here, where there's all these other branches shading it, when the rest of the tree has flushed growth, these didn't. So I thought maybe if I snap off the leaves, it'll encourage it to flush some growth. I have another one here. This one's a cotton candy. We'll see if that works. Sometimes that will encourage leaf growth. If the tree already doesn't really want to grow anything from there, I don't know if it's going to. If I snapped leaves off of one of these, it would make it grow. But I'm not sure if it's going to do it with these. But on the other hand, if it won't grow anyway, it's not doing anything for me, so I might as well try.
Sure. Now you have a good amount of successful grafts on this tree. So you have a
I do. Yeah,
here.
there's one up there. I need to put a tag on it. It's that branch there. Can't really see, but this branch over here, this one has a lot of fruit on it. This is also cac.
Okay.
And there's a Fairchild somewhere in there also. Yeah, you can
All
see
right. So you got cac,
ribbon there.
Fairchild, and it's the other ones. You got a lot on this tree.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, that's great. And it's right in the front. So let me ask you, I see the front here, there's no fence.
There's no fence.
And you got this mango tree right in front. So how does that work? I mean, any problems with people helping themselves?
Not a lot. We do get a couple of two-legged mammals taking fruit. We have more problem usually with the four-legged climbing mammals with the tails. But we do get, also, this one here is lemon zest.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And last year it didn't flower this year, but last year I had one lemon zest mango on ear, and a two-legged mammal took it.
Oh, wow.
So I was a little bummed about that. But for the most part, I don't lose very much to the two-legged mammals.
Yes. Okay. All right. Now on the other side of this, let me pan out here and show you all. Let's
It's
see.
got more fruit on it than you can see because it flushed out a bunch of leaves after it set fruit. So a lot of them are kind of hidden inside.
Okay. So now right on the other side, there's this jackfruit tree here on the other side of this. So this jackfruit tree, how old is this jackfruit tree?
Oh, 15 years maybe?
15 years, and you say it's from a seedling?
It's a seed. Uh, got it from a friend after I had a jackfruit tree that I saved a seed from the Fruit and Spice Park and had a little tree by the house I was living at in Gainesville, and somebody swiped it one day. And so
They took the tree?
They took the tree. I don't know what they were going to do with the jackfruit in Gainesville. I was going to bring it down here. But a friend of mine that also saved a seed from the same trip to the Fruit and Spice Park, he had an extra tree and gave me one of his. The tree makes fantastic jackfruits. Unfortunately, it also likes to die. You can see this branch is dropping all its leaves. That's because it grew a few fruits last year. Basically, wherever it grows fruits from, it kind of kills off that branch.
Do you ever cut it back?
I do. Not much lately. I have shortened it some, but I should have not let it grow this branch because the joint is at a high angle there, but it's kind of too late for that. So if it dies, we'll be removing it. But if I cut off such a large branch there, I don't think that's going to heal. So
Okay.
At some point, it's probably going to go anyway. But you can see we've got two fruits on it this year, there and there.
Okay, so so how are these pretty big?
They're medium.
Okay, you got one there. Where's the other one?
Right over there.
On the other side, okay. Alrighty. Is it a soft variety, a crunchy variety?
It depends on how ripe you let it get. It gets soft when it's ripe. Even the rag is edible and delicious. It's very flavorful. So I'm very happy with the fruits that they produce.
Okay.
I just wish it wouldn't keep letting its branches die every time it fruits.
Okay, let's head over that way. So I know you have an empty spot right here, and what's going on with this empty spot? Are you going to put something in here, or was something already here?
This spot used to have a small tamarind tree. That small tamarind tree spent a little time at my nursery in Gainesville, and a canna seed fell into it and started growing, and I left it there, and so it made this patch of cannas over here. I planted that tree to be a friend to the other big tamarind tree I had where the mango is over there, to help cross-pollinate to see if I could get more fruit from it. And it still didn't really get me much because the tamarinds, anytime I tried to pick tamarinds, either they were not ripe or they had gone bad, and I got very, very little of anything I could eat from the tamarind tree after many years of trying, and eventually gave up and decided I wanted another mango tree. So I got rid of both tamarinds, but we still have some of the canna here.
Okay, so let's go and see what else you got. And this is all the front of his house. This is pretty cool here. So here's a beautiful looking, nice size mango tree. And what kind of tree is this?
This is my newest tree in the yard. This is an orange sherbet.
Orange sherbet, yes.
I got a cutting from a friend and put it on one of the little trees that I also got from a different friend, and it's been growing so well. We have the first fruit ever on it right now.
Yeah, there's some fruit up there on the top, looking good.
And it had an earlier fruiting. You can see down here we've got some that look like they're almost ready, and it's not even May yet.
Alrighty.
So this tree wanted to grow basically straight up, and I wanted it to spread out. So I tied a bunch of things as it was growing. I tied bamboo onto it to pull the branches apart, and it has a nice shape, I think, now.
It does, looking good. Alrighty, so now we're gonna enter his well, no, we're still in the front here. So we have these two trees here. Now this one's pretty cool. This is a pretty big Achacha, right?
Yeah, this is an Achacha. It was a gift from a friend, and it hasn't fruited yet, but I'm excited to try them when it does.
How long's that been in the ground for?
Probably 3.5, maybe 4 years.
And I noticed you do this on the bottom so the weed whacker doesn't mess them up, right?
Yes. Yeah, I do that. And you can see on the mango over here, this is another thing I do sometimes. is just put a circle of rebar around there to protect it from the string trimmers.
Okay.
We have a guy who mows and does the string trimmer and takes care of that for us, but he wants to get done real fast and get in and out, and he's not terribly careful.
Sure.
So I try to protect the trees from it. This is a grimichama.
A nice size, and you have some that are about to fruit there.
Yeah, it's going to be a heavy fruiting this year. They do have a problem with getting worms in them, and also the fruit are only there for about a week.
Have you had worms? Have you seen worms in them?
Yeah, we had last year. It was most of them had worms, and it's kind of, I wish they didn't have worms, but on the other hand, how many can you eat in a week?
Are they very noticeable, the worms, or
Yeah.
not really? Okay, good.
Yeah, they when the worms get in them, it makes the whole thing just turn to mush, and
Okay.
they fall, and almost all of them had worms last year. It was hard to get any that didn't.
Okay.
We're hoping to get some without worms this year, and it'd be nice if the season was spread out a little more. But
Yes.
so if I had it to do again, I like the size of this plant. That's why I put it in. We don't have much room in this little strip of grass here, so it's a good size plant. But I might try to look for a different one if I had to do it over again.
Okay. It's not too late to start.
Yeah.
So let's now you do have some space. I don't know how tight you want to get, but like I see there's a spot right where you're standing.
Yeah. Well, the Achacha is going to get bigger. The mango is going to get bigger. So.
All right, so you're gonna let them grow big, and you're thinking ahead. Okay.
Yeah.
So what do we got there?
Little guava in here. This one came from a seed from somebody I work with. He brought in some little guavas. They didn't have any worms in them, so I thought, okay, well that's something. So I planted a seed. It hasn't fruited yet, and I don't think this is going to be long term because I'm going to, this is going to start shading it eventually, and so I'll take this out to give the mango room eventually. But I think for a few years, can have a guava tree.
Okay. And I see some empty room here, a lot of
Yeah.
empty room. You planning on putting anything here? Or you're going to leave some of it
is-
open?
This is where my parents put the sukkah every year for Sukkot.
Oh, wonderful.
So-
All right.
So this is off limits for planting. It's the only spot really.
Oh, that's a good reason. All right. So if it gets a little noisy with the AC, but we can hear you still. So this is very impressive, this tree.
Yeah, it's been growing so fast. It got largely defoliated this winter, and it's all back. It's a
Guanabana soursop from a seedling, right?
I believe it was a seedling. I got this at a little grocery store in Orlando,
Okay.
and when I took out the tamarind, I rescued this air plant from it and put it in here.
And how does this fruit? Did you get a good amount of fruit?
We haven't got any fruit from this yet. It's still a young tree. This is maybe 3 years old. So it's been growing really fast, and it's been flowering for a couple of years. You can see it's got there's an old bud here and a couple of new ones right there.
Yes.
So it's been flowering, but no fruit yet.
All right, and now here's your prize of the yard. For 7 years old, you planted this banana,
Yes.
this avocado.
This avocado, this is my wonderful, fantastic avocado. This is such a good tree. Unfortunately, it lost the top in Hurricane Irma, but it's grown back very well, and it's very productive, and I love these fruits.
Now, so this is from a seedling, this avocado. Did you
Yes.
give it a name?
I was thinking redneck on account of the shape and the color, but I'm still trying to figure it out. I was thinking long neck earlier, but somebody already has that name.
Yes. Yes. Well, be careful with the word redneck. You got to be careful with that
I
one.
was thinking that might not be the best name.
Yeah. So, okay, and here's another soursop.
Yeah, this one's a year older than the bigger one, but it's kind of underneath the avocado, and I've kept it trimmed more. It got away from me a little bit up there, but this one made like one fruit a year for a couple of years, and then last year it made a bunch, and this year you can see it's got a couple little ones getting going on there.
Yes. Now, this is very close, this avocado and the soursop. What's your plan with both of those?
The plan was to see if the soursop would handle being under the shade of the avocado, and just keep the soursop short enough, and the avocado would be above it. I planted this shortly before Hurricane Irma, and then the avocado lost the top. So
Okay.
it was a little bit different. There's another dropped baby avocado.
Okay. So, and this avocado, you said the season was early, right?
It's an early one. They start ripening around the end of June, and or at least the squirrels start really knocking them down a lot toward the late part of June. And usually the first week in July is when I harvest the crop.
Okay, and behind us you have one of several avocados on the property. I mean, bananas on the property.
Yeah, this is dwarf Orinoco. I had quite a lot of trouble with the dwarf Orinoco for many years until I put a bunch of mulch on it. And then they got a lot bigger and happier and started making a bunch of fruit. I need more mulch. You can see I'm improvising with as much as I can with what I've got with branches.
Well, I see you have a bunch of pups. Do you take out the pups or do you just leave them all grow?
Depends. I haven't taken out very many pups from this clump. Some of them, basically, if I don't want bananas growing into some area, if they're getting too close to a mango, I can show you on the other side. But this one, I haven't taken very many out yet. It might benefit from a little reduction, but really, I want some mulch. I've been on chip drop for 2 years waiting for a delivery, and I need some mulch.
Do they actually come or no?
I got a delivery once,
Okay.
but it's been a while.
Now, are any of your trees on irrigation back here?
The whole yard has your standard South Florida sprinkler system for the lawn.
Okay.
And I maintain that. It helps with the thing. I turn it off sometimes if we're having a lot of rain or if I want to expose the mangoes to some dry time to get them to fruit, flower. But I forgot to do that this winter, and I think that may have been why the Maha Chinook did not flower. But,
Okay. Now I noticed behind this banana, your neighbor has a mango.
There's a mango. This was supposed to be a hatcher. My first foray into planting trees on other people's land was I had a good relationship with this neighbor. She was an older woman, and she used to have a bunch of wonderful citrus that all went away during the greening and the canker, and so I planted a bunch of things back in her yard, and unfortunately this is not a hatcher. I bought a plant that was supposed to be a hatcher, and this is something else. So I've grafted a couple of things onto the branches that are on my side.
Do you have any
of the
idea
fence.
what it is?
No, but it's extremely susceptible to mango bacterial black spot.
Okay, and is the lady no longer there?
She unfortunately passed away a few years ago.
Okay.
And the new owner, this is the only one left of all the things I planted.
Have any of the grafts taken?
Yeah, I have a few of them. I have one fruit of a lemon zest there. It had more, but that windstorm we got knocked off the older ones, and then that's the only one left from the second flowering. And this is either, I can check the tag, it's either a cac or a lemon zest. So there's one there, one here, and then this here is a cac that we didn't fruit this year.
Okay. All right, and here's another banana.
More banana. I have a lot of Rajapuri. It's one of my favorite bananas. They're so productive and delicious, and they don't grow real tall, and they're stocky. So even when we have hurricanes, they lose a lot of leaves, but they don't go over. They don't snap.
Stay short. Okay,
So
yeah,
very
look how
short and
short they
stocky.
are, and there's some on here.
And these are getting a little crowded by the ademoya. The ademoya has gotten really big. I cut it back a lot in the last, I guess, after it when it was done fruiting. It's when you trim most of the trees. So when it was done fruiting, I cut it back quite a lot last year. So these have a little bit more sun now, but they're still, you can see the ademoya is getting
Wow,
into
there's a
little-
giant ademoya, the biggest ademoya tree I've seen. And what kind is this ademoya?
This is a Geffner.
A Geffner ademoya. Okay.
Yeah, so not that long ago, I was up on top of all those branches, cutting off, a dozen feet of height up there, and trying to keep it from getting into the pool enclosure.
Okay, and it's been fruiting every year for you?
They are not a whole lot. I wish that they produced more. I tried hand pollinating one year; it didn't help. The best thing I found, it's hidden in the branch. These are branches I cut off of it a little while ago down there, and we also have some weeds. So I've got a pile of rotting fruit over there to attract the beetles. that pollinate this. So that seems to be the best thing I found for increasing fruit yield from the ademoya is just try to attract the beetles. And they don't seem to really like. We've got a compost container that's enclosed, but the beetles, it doesn't seem to really attract the beetles as much as having some outside. But it's covered up in the weeds, so that's nice because I don't really want to have that.
Then in the corner you have a sea grape. You were saying a big sea grape tree.
Real big sea grape. This has been here since we got the house a long time ago. It's been cut back repeatedly. It has an issue with getting into the power lines, and every so often it'll cause an outage, and FPL will come by and trim it. Last time they trimmed it, I went and trimmed it back some more, but not enough because it's already back.
You get any fruit on here at all?
Not really. I mostly use this as a yam trellis. I would like it to be a little smaller than it is.
Okay. And here you have a palm tree of sort.
Yeah, that's been here since forever. Also, I'm pleased that it's getting high enough that it's getting out of the way of these bananas. It's finally getting big enough that it's not right in the bananas.
What bananas are these?
These are more Rajapuri.
Okay.
And these are Mysore.
Mysore. Okay.
And I really like how the Mysore don't get very affected by the Sigatoka fungus, which I have a problem with here. And I'm always running around cutting all the leaves that have Sigatoka fungus in them off of the Rajapuri and other bananas. But the Mysore are not really affected by it. Unfortunately, the Mysore are tall and skinny, and they snap very easily. You get a little wind. Even if you don't get a little wind, you get a very heavy cluster of fruit, and they just snap. So
yeah. And there's a little friend on there saying hello.
Yeah. I wonder if that might be one of those nitinols, just a small one.
Okay, and then so there's a bunch of, so we're here, they have a pool enclosure here, and we're going to look later at his potted plants. He has a bunch of potted plants, but in the back here, there's very little space between the pool enclosure and the back of the yard here, and it's all bananas here. And then after the bananas, we come up to, what do we have here?
This is my sugar apple tree.
Sugar apple.
And this was also a seedling. It makes fantastic sugar apples, and some of them are quite big. I had one. I'm trying to remember how big they were. I've got a photograph of it sitting on the scale. I think it may have been as much as 3 pounds, but I have to check my records on that. It's 2 pounds or 3 pounds. Some big. You know, they the main season they don't get that big, but this was in I think December, and they'd only had a few, and some of them just got enormous. So I'm very happy with this seedling sugar apple, and I have to trim it a lot because it's always trying to get into the pool enclosure or go over in the neighbor's yard. So it's not, I don't really have very much space for it, but it's been enough. It's been working out.
Okay.
And I've had a couple of fig trees here for a number of years, and they have not really been very happy. I put a lot of mulch around them, and that seemed to help some. And this is the new growth for spring, and this is looking better than it has in a while. But it's going to get, the rust is going to get a lot worse very soon. And they have not produced very much. They get a couple of fruits, and then the squirrels take them.
Okay.
So I've got another one over here that's getting swallowed up by the mango tree, and I'm going to have to take that out. I think I'll try to bring that back up north, because I think this is.
So do you still have a nursery up north?
I don't have a nursery up north
up
anymore. I have access to some land. I did buy a house up there recently, so I've got a backyard that I'm making plans on.
Okay.
I don't know if this fig is going to be part of those plans or not, but maybe. So,
yes. And what mango is this?
This is a Maha Chinook, and my Maha Chinook has been, for most of the years that I've had it, it's been an amazing, bountiful producer, fast grower, just incredible. I get maybe like 300-400 pounds of mangoes in a year, except this year. It did not flower this year. So I'm a little disappointed about that. I'm not sure if it was lack of the dry season in the winter because I didn't turn the sprinklers off, or if it was, I shortened it a lot last year after it finished fruiting. Actually, I took all the fruits up to Gainesville to sell, and then it may not have been. It may have been at the end of August or even in September when I cut off maybe a third of the branches, all the high up stuff, because I need to be able to spray the blooms in the winter for the mildews, and I need to be able to spray the scales, and so I have to be able to reach all these things with the sprayer.
Sure.
And when it's real tall, it's harder to pick also. I have long poles, I can do it, but it takes longer. And if I'm running around trying to pick a whole bunch of different trees in a short amount of time, I want to be able to do it quicker. So I want to keep my trees shorter, and this is about as wide as I'm going to let this tree get. So this year I'm going to have to be trimming it back in the width as well as maintaining the height. So I don't
how
know if
old
it's
is this
gonna like
tree?
that. I think it's probably about 6 years,
Okay.
maybe 7. I'm not
All right.
sure.
And now right behind you is a ton of bananas. This banana
Yeah.
circle is out of
This
control
is-
here. How many do you have here?
We got a lot. This is the bigger Mysore area. I was having trouble with them over there. They wouldn't fruit for a while until I figured out the thing about mulching. So I wanted to try a different spot, so I moved one over here, and they liked it here.
So do they fruit here?
They do.
Now,
And
after
over
they
there
fruit,
now,
do you
too.
cut them?
Sometimes.
Okay.
A lot of the time when they fruit, they've already snapped by the time I collect it. Sometimes I cut them and throw them in the brush pile over there. Sometimes I'm lazy and I don't. The bananas, if they still have green leaves on them when the fruit are done, I usually leave that to help, because those will keep feeding the next sprout, and you get more fruit from the next sprout if you let the mother feed it longer. So I want to leave it as long as it's going to keep feeding the next sprout, and but then they get rotten on the inside, and it's really gross when I cut and drag a rotten one. The juice gets on me. I don't like it. So that's why I get lazy about pulling out the old trunks. Sometimes I just let them fall and rot where they are. And again, I need more mulch.
Okay.
This is a new one. I'm trying to find. I wanted to find one that was resistant to Sigatoka. This is the Mona Lisa banana. It's supposed to be resistant to Sigatoka, but it's getting a little too much shade here, and it hasn't performed real well yet. So I'm still hopeful. But
Okay.
this is an area where I do remove all the suckers because it's right up against the mango, and this is an area I need to walk through. So I have been pulling out suckers. You can see there's a spot where I cut one out over here, and then you can see there's more that have come in since then that I'll need to cut out. And I may want to go in and thin a couple of them inside there too, because it's really getting dense.
Okay. So walking this way here.
I used to have full-size Oronocos about where the Mona Lisa is, and they didn't do anything for a lot of years, and I gave up and dug them up and tossed them over here on the brush pile, and one of them rooted in and grew, and it liked the brush pile, and since then some of these have been making just these enormous clusters of fruit. They don't fruit very often. It takes a long time for it to grow and make a cluster. But when it comes in, some of these things are in excess of 50 pounds.
Wow.
Big, beautiful Orinoco fruit, and they're pretty good tasting. So I'm leaving this here. This area used to be a massive Norfolk pine, but our neighbor was. There are people who go around and try to scare you about Norfolk pines, and they tell you that they fall over in storms, which they don't. But somebody convinced our neighbor that our Norfolk pine was a danger to their house, and they really wanted us to get rid of it. And at some point, they convinced my parents to cut it in half, which is the worst thing you can do, because then the sprouts from the top of that cut part actually might come off in a hurricane. And the neighbor still wasn't satisfied, and I was thinking, well, I don't eat Norfolk pine, and if we get rid of that, then we've got more sun for my other trees. We got space. I can plant another thing. So we got rid of it. A couple of years later, I tried to plant a mame where the Norfolk pine was. And we had the stump ground, and I thought after a couple of years we should have be able to. Anyway, I tried to plant it, and I dug down through the mulch from the stump grinding, and then I hit wood about 4 inches down, and and needless to say, the mame didn't like it there. But of course, I've also killed mame in a few other spots. So I don't know. I think mames just don't like me, but it's getting a little small for that now that the mango's getting bigger. So I'll just keep these bananas.
Yes.
And this was a tree. I got some bad advice from the internet and planted a lancetilla here. And it grew big and happy and set a ton of fruit. And after it set the fruit, it starts dropping fruit and dropping fruit and dropping fruit until you get into August and there's about 3 left and they're about this big and they're still not ripe. And then the squirrels start eating holes in them. And after a few years of that, I was kind of thinking I want a different mango tree. So I cut the lancetilla back to about here. And when the sprouts came in, I bought some cuttings from Alex and grafted a couple of cack onto here. And then I went to a neighbor, one of the places that I used to pick mangoes, and I got some of from a tree that's probably an Edward. So I've got a couple Edwards on here and some cack, and it's filled out nicely and is normally pretty productive. This year, not so much, but gonna get a few mangoes from it. Some of them look like they're even almost ready, which is it's not even May yet, and this is crazy. But I'm gonna need to shorten it a little bit more.
Well,
after
we
this
live and we
season.
learn, right?
Yeah.
Alrighty, we hope.
More Rajapuri,
Rajapuri, okay.
and we've actually got some ripe Rajapuri over here.
Oh, good, because I haven't had that variety yet.
Now these are about ready to pick. And normally I'll pick them. You know, they're low enough you don't have to take the whole stalk in. And as they start turning color, I'll go around with the clipper and clip off the fingers. Sometimes I clip off all of them and take them up to sell, or sell them to people down here. But yeah, this is really a fantastic tasting.
Well, it's my lucky
banana.
day. Are they ready now?
Do
you think they're not ready yet?
These are. You might be able to eat these. I think another day they'd be perfect. I've got some inside I can.
Great.
Maybe have that should be perfectly ripe.
All right, let's go around the house here, and then we'll go in that way and look at your planted pots.
All right.
And here's some more. Another rack that's about to come out.
Yep.
Wonderful.
Yeah, and they've been doing a little bit better with the. I don't have a whole lot of sigatoka right now. I've been running around and cutting off all the infected leaves for years.
And how do you know when the leaves are infected?
You can see the stripy pattern on them. Like there are some, when they have fruit on them, I usually let them stay, even if they look infected. Like you see this kind of stripy pattern here. That's some of it. And there are not a lot of them showing a lot of signs of it right now, which is good.
Okay. It's always interesting what people do with their yards. The same space I got, and this is what he's doing here. It's always interesting.
This is a chocolate pudding fruit. I got this as a gift. I believe it's a seedling, and it's turned out quite well. The fruits are not all the same size, but they are quite delicious, and it is productive. It was hating life here for a lot of years. It would grow a little bit, and then it would drop leaves and get sunburned, and then it would grow a little more, and it's like it was always sort of between coming back to life and dying, and eventually it got happier. It was about the time that I put a bunch of mulch around it, so I don't know if it was just coincidence or if the mulch did something, but since then I've been trying to keep it mulched. You can see I got branches over here. That's from the neighbor's hedge. Mostly I've been trimming some stuff off of there because it needs it. And then we've got
got a big tree here.
Yeah.
Tell everybody what that one is.
This is a macadamia, and the best thing about the macadamia that I experience here is the blooms. It has these long strings of pink flowers, and they smell incredible. So I appreciate the tree for that. We don't really get the macadamias. You can see there are little fruits growing on here, but the squirrels will take all of those before they're ripe. So the other thing it does for me is distract the squirrels. So it's full of fruit while the mangoes are growing, and so I hope that that maybe the squirrels are not eating some of my mangoes because this is
They're full
available.
from the macadamia.
I'm not sure if it quite works that way, but you can see this had a double fruit. It made a few fruits early. You can see there's one that's almost ripe up there, and then you can see down here you've got shells. That so the squirrels are getting into the first fruiting, which was smaller than the second fruit. The second flowering was very intense.
Macadamia. Okay, and then here's
Here's the lychee again. And you can see it's open in the middle. I cut it back a lot last year at the end of the fruiting
what
season.
variety is this?
This is it's either Mauritius or the other common one. I don't remember the name of it. Not Sweetheart.
No.
The old variety. And I forgot the other. I don't remember which one.
Does it fruit every year, or is it all different bearing?
It is. I've had this for probably a dozen years, and it's fruited, I think, twice.
Okay.
So, it seems to go. It fruited last year, and before that, I think it was probably about 10 years.
Well, so, you know what we say with a tree like that, it makes great mulch.
Yeah. So I've been trying to figure out what it needs to make it fruit more. But yeah, I've been rather disappointed with the lack of productivity from it so far. So you can see there is a little bit of, it needs some minerals. I got to figure out which one that is.
Now, that's his yard, everybody. Now tell us, we're going to look at your potted plants, but tell us again, you don't eat all this fruit. You sell a lot of it.
I sell a lot of the fruit. It's a side gig. I have a job, but I like working with fruit, and I like meeting people who enjoy fruit, and so I like to have an abundance of special, good tasting fruit, special things that you can't get in a grocery store. And I like to bring that up. I have a lot of friends in Gainesville. I lived there for about 20 years. And I was always coming back and forth because my parents lived here and planting things in the yard. So when I come up to Gainesville from down in tropical South Florida, I like to bring some of the goodies we have down here to people who want them up there and can't grow them. So it's not that far of a drive. About 4 hours, but it's a major climatic difference. So I bring mangoes and bananas and different things I have up to sell them in Gainesville usually. Sometimes I sell them down here. I've found out even though you can grow them down here, there are people here who want to buy them also. People live in condos and things and can't have trees.
Do you sell locally, or do you sell over the internet? Do you have a website, or is it all through Facebook, or what?
It's mostly through Facebook. I found a tropical fruit forum on Facebook, and sometimes I post, just participating in the forum, I'll post some pictures, say, look what I got. And then I get all these people say, can I buy that? And I'm like, oh, okay, I didn't know that was a thing, but yeah, we can do that.
Very nice. And your goal is for people to share their land with you where you can plant and take care of the trees, and then you guys could split the proceeds.
Yeah, and we work together on taking care of the trees because I can't get there every day, every week, or whatever.
But you instruct people how to take care of them and what to do.
Yeah, so the landowner's responsibilities will be in irrigation primarily. Make sure it's got water when it needs it, when it doesn't need it, and keep an eye on it, maybe some pest control. But I'll help advise on how to do that. And then I come in to do I'll do the planting, I do the pruning, and provide fertilizer.
Yeah. Very cool, very cool. So you're calling it a mango club? Is that what you're calling it?
Mango team.
Mango team, okay. All right, well, this is amazing. We're going to go take a look at his potted plants. Do you sell trees, or you just pot trees to give out, or what do you do? I mostly don't sell trees. I don't have the capacity to make enough for selling. These are just trees that I grafted these because I want to grow these varieties. I want to eat these varieties. I've heard about how wonderful they are, what the ZIL nursery has been doing in developing some of these new amazing varieties, and I want to grow them. I want to eat them. And so I grafted some trees so I could do that, but we don't have any space here left, so I need to find somewhere else. Also, these people that are letting you use their land, you could also use these trees for that, right? Yeah, and so now that I have these trees that are grafted and ready, if I can find partners to partner with and we'll grow them on their land, then you get some of these fruit too. I get some of the fruit, you get some of the fruit. We work together taking care of the tree, and hopefully it'll all work out. Nice. Show us what you got potted here. Do you know a lot of people in the neighborhood? Do they have? I see trees as I'm driving around. Do you know a lot of them or all of them?
Some of them. I haven't talked with that guy in a while. On the others, back when I was taking care of trees in this neighbor's yard, I met the guy on the other side, and he's got a bunch of interesting trees. So he's got a guanabana and a mango and different things. And there's an avocado over there. You can see.
Oh, that's really big.
And that's I'm friends with those people. Their son Tim and I used to be friends since we were kids. And so that tree has been shortened quite a lot recently. It used to be massive.
Well, that's wise enough not to cut it out completely.
So these are some of the trees. This is mostly the mangoes that the grafts haven't worked yet. I'm going to try again on a lot of these. But let me get this.
Okay, it's a bunch of. So these, you working on those and grafting those?
This one's actually a double grafted one. I might take this to the fruit council and sell that. This is a Mahashinook and Glen.
Oh, nice.
And got a couple of them here. This is another one that didn't work recently. So this is a Kerry. This is a lemon zest, a sweet tart, and Venus.
And what rootstock are you using for these?
These were
all different ones?
It was stuff I got from a friend.
Okay.
And I think a lot of them were Keat. I'm not certain. And I've got some more here. Another sweet tart. This is a Glen. So this is probably for selling or giving away because I've already got a Glen. And Mahashinook. Can never have enough Mahashinook though. You know they're amazing. This is one of my recent successes. This one is a Sessi Love. I'm real excited about that one.
Nice.
And what was this one? Angie. And Fairchild. This is my biggest clone from the avocado tree.
It's a graft?
That's a graft.
Nice.
And then I've been doing some loquats as well. And let's see what this one is cotton candy. Edward, or this is the same Edward or Edward-like one that I've got over there. Because they're amazing and I want some more of those. That one is another orange sherbet, and then that one's an M4.
Nice. What a nice selection you have here.
So I'm working on some loquats as well. Not sure what exactly I'm going to do with the loquats. I do want to include some of these avocados in the mango program, so grow avocados as well as mangoes. And these are two of my most recent successful avocado grafts. You can see this one's got some sprouts coming off of the grafted bit there, and this one also is starting to sprout.
Wonderful. All right, everybody, that was so cool. It's so cool to see how people have the same amount of property you have and what they did with their canvas. And it's so wonderful that we came here and everything he's growing. I'm really excited about these things. I'm definitely going to get a graft of that avocado. It sounds wonderful. I can't wait to taste that avocado. And those trees that he has in pots, he's looking for people locally to share them with and put them in the yard and be part of this mango/avocado program. So contact the information below the link here, the link below in the description, and get in touch with him and ask him more about that. We are in West Palm Beach, and it's a little south of the city area, a little north of Lake Worth where I am, but in West Palm Beach, a wonderful area. It's an area that I moved to when I first came down here. And this yard was great, and I'm excited about everything he's doing here. And I just love meeting new friends here over Facebook and just all around the area that's growing things. And I am excited, and I know I'll be back here again tasting some fruit this summer. And everybody, put your comments and questions below and keep growing.